Assalamu alaikum, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the newest season of the must-see talk show here in the NJSSL. Welcome to the Cutting Redge. We are here live with not a one-time, not a two-time, but a three-time NJSSL champion, one of the greatest captains in the history of the NJSSL, a man who has two championship rings in NJSSL football and one ring in NJSSL soccer. He is probably arguably the GOAT of NJSSL in terms of overall athletic prowess. He is the one and only Wali Mirza. Wali, assalamu alaikum, brother. How are you?
Walaikum salam, Reg. Thank you for the intro. First of all, I just got to say, you look like Shahid Kapoor with this new hairdo.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Soon.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. Certainly, it's not the ideal time to be talking about a guy whose dance moves I can, emulate. But, for the record, I can definitely emulate his dance moves. So, thank you for that. How's everything going, Wali? How's it feel to be such a dominant guy?
Everything's been good, alhamdulillah. But first of all, I just want to thank God. And then, I want to thank my team. Every year, I've been luckily getting drafted to the best teams like AHK for soccer. That was a super team. We had Rook. I know he gets a lot of praise, but I'm telling you, this dude in soccer is as dangerous as he is in basketball too. He's one of the best players. And Sajjad picked a great team. He picked Farhan, the Bungish family, and I'm forgetting who else we had, but yeah, there's a lot of good players in there. And then for the Ram season, that was Alicia, majority of the work he did. And then, he rallied the troops. And then for the Falcons, that was an overall team effort. So it's been great.
100%. 100%. Hey, Wali, I don't mean to cut you off, but it looks like we're actually having a special surprise guest that was said he wasn't going to be on, but I guess he changed his mind. So, ladies and gentlemen, if I can't tell because the screen's all dark, but please welcome former captain of the NJSSL Texans, current defending champion in NJSSL volleyball. I don't remember what his team name was, but he was the captain of that team too. Please welcome Haider Abbas. Haider, how's it going, man? Assalamu alaikum.
Good. How's everyone doing?
We're doing good. We're doing good. We were just talking. We just introduced Wali, and then we saw that you were hopping on, so we had to welcome you onto the show. Haider, what are your thoughts overall about just this upcoming football season?
It's going to be a good season. I think Akbar Nucky got screwed with this pick order thing. I feel bad. I don't know what's going to happen in terms of who they're going to pick, but I think they got screwed. They should have gotten one of the higher picks, to be honest.
Well, we'll get to that in just a second. I guess actually, now that you bring it up, let's kind of give our audience here like a little rundown of what to expect for the draft that we have coming up. I guess once registration is finally done. Well, in football for this season, we have 6 captains, and they are as follows: Shabar Syed, Shezan Khan, Akbar Rizvi, Nabil Zaidi, Nakhi Abbas, and Zohaib Mumtaz. Haider, just overall, and what do you think of those captains? And then, specifically, do you know the order of the draft?
The order of the draft. Let me pull it up. I have it.
I think I know it.
It's Zohaib. It's Zohaib, Nabil Zaidi, Shazan, Shabbar, Akbar, Nucky.
Zohaib, Nabil, Shazan, Shabbar, Akbar, and Nucky.
Yep.
All right, interesting. So that is wild. I guess let's kind of go through each of the captains one at a time. I'm gonna give you my thoughts. Not in any particular order here, but I guess I'll give it in the order that I wanted to give it in. The first guy I want to talk about is Shabbar. Shabbar is going to be a very interesting choice for captain. The biggest thing for him is that, out of all the captains that are there, he's the one guy who is truly, can be considered the face of a division. He's a guy who has amazing athletic prowess. He's, a top tier player in NJSSL in a variety of sports. I think the biggest thing for him is that he's finally looking to win his first championship, if I'm not mistaken, in NJSSL football.
He just won in soccer.
Well, he has a championship in soccer, but I think in the 3-4 years we've had football, he's not had a single one.
No,
So
not.
I think that's the biggest thing for him. Vali, what are your thoughts on Schubert as captain?
I think Shumper's a great pick for captain. I think he's out of all the kids that are captains, I think he has like the most leadership skills. So I think he can definitely get the troops rallied. And he's probably, I would say, the second best in terms of like his position as a captain.
Okay, very interesting thoughts. Very interesting thoughts. Um, Heather, any thought on Schubert as captain?
I think this is a long time coming. Shepard's been saying he wants to be a captain in football. I think that he has a certain vision in terms of what he wants to do, and I think he, like what he said, he is one of the better captains in this group. I think he's going to
Vali, are
show
you getting
that.
technical difficulties from Heather?
Yeah, he's like cutting out. I think he's connected to like I don't know what. Probably I don't
You
know.
know, Heather, I think is still trying to connect to some Desi level Wi-Fi right there. But we'll bring him back at another time. We're just gonna ignore him for now. Let's move on to Shazan. Shazan, I think, is he's the most interesting captain here because whereas Shubber is kind of like the face of faces amongst the captains, Shazan's like the biggest heel amongst the captains. He's like the biggest guy that everybody loves to hate. And I think like obviously he's a big talker. He's a guy whose actions on the field don't quite support his words. He talks a big game, doesn't necessarily back it up. And the craziest part, and I think the biggest thing for Shazan is that he truly believes every ridiculous thing he says. So, if he is talking a big game, he definitely believes that he has that same capability to play to that big game, but he's like almost never really proved that on the field. So I think that's basically the biggest goal for Shazan is to kind of put the money where the mouth is. Otherwise, he's going to lose any credibility as captain. Vali, what are your thoughts on Shazan as a captain?
Yeah, Shazan. I think he wanted to be a captain as well, and he finally got it. Um, it's a risky pick. I think I've been hearing that I'm probably gonna end up on his team, and he's a streaky quarterback. Like he'll have his days, but then he'll also have like days where he can't put it on the target. I think he can rally the troops. He does have the ability. But my only thing is like his draft pick. I don't know if will he listen to the people like once they get picked. So like if he picks me, I think I want to pick the rest of the players because I don't know if he can draft well or not. But we'll find out. So
We'll have to find out. We'll have to find out. Heather, we're going to give you another opportunity to give some thoughts here on Shazan.
Well, I think Shazan is
That's better.
a very good player. I just think he needs the right team around him, and I think if he has Wali around him to lead him a little bit and to keep him hopefully level-headed, I think he's going to play very well. Um, I'm excited to see what Shazan does leading a team, to be honest, because I think he has a lot of potential, and this season could be the season that he unlocks that.
I think he's still destined for greatness. He just needs to get past whatever obstacles lie in his way as they constantly exist. All right, next one. Let's talk about Akbar Rizvi. Akbar Rizvi is one of the youngest guys that are captains. I don't know, has he even like finished like high school yet? I think he's probably like 17, right? Yeah.
no, I think he's second year of college now.
All right, fair enough. So he's like 19 or 20, but
Yeah.
still, the big thing on Akbar is that his actions, he is like the opposite of Shazan. His actions speak much louder than his words. When he's on the field, he is like he'll get to that quarterback, he'll play as well as he can, and he's not a guy who talks a lot. So it's kind of that goes hand in hand with the fact that his leadership skills are yet to be seen. Right? Like, will he be able to tell guys that are older than him or more experienced than him what to do in a situation? That's going to be what is it has yet to be seen. So Heather, what do you think of Akbar? Do you think he has the ability?
I don't know if he has the ability, but I think him as a captain, he's probably the easiest captain to play for.
Let's say he does get a Reza Merchant or maybe a ZJ. He's probably gonna let
Mm-hmm.
them handle it, and then he'll like give his input, obviously. But I
Mm-hmm.
think that's probably gonna happen with a lot of these captains. Is that yeah?
Yeah, I think for a lot of these younger guys, it's very crucial to have an older guy such as a Raza Merchant, an Asad Merchant, a Dubs, any of those guys that have strong IQ, and can also have good leadership skills to help them basically lead the team. So it looks like Heather dropped off, so we're just gonna bump him for the rest of the way, I guess, until he's able to get back on. But we'll see. He's trying to get back on again. So we'll see if he has the ability to hang with the best with Wali and Reg, or if he's just going to get dropped off to the wayside. But speaking of dropped off to the wayside, next captain I want to talk about is Nabil Zaidi. Now this is probably one of the most veteran players, and captains in the NJSSL. And one of the things I have full faith in Nabil being able to do is put together a solid, well-rounded squad. I think he does have the ability to draft a pretty, well-balanced team. And I think one of the things that he's yet to do is really earn the respect from many of the players, for his skills, just because he has had some, weaker seasons the last couple of seasons, compared to when he first started. So I think, that's probably the biggest obstacle for him. And the other obstacle, I don't know if it's going to be an obstacle or not, but he's the only one who is like a parent, or has a child amongst the captains. So will that basically pull away from his ability to focus on captaining this team? What do you think?
Yeah, I think NZ is a great pick for captain. He is the oldest captain, and he's definitely the strongest one out of them. And I think people are willing to listen to him. The other captains, it's some of your friends, so you're like, I don't want to take orders from him. But if NZ tells you to do something, you're probably gonna do it. And I already feel like I already know his pick, and it's probably gonna be Farhan, and they've been to a final before, so I think that team's already looking super nice.
You think he's going to recreate the Eagles?
I think he's gonna try for that. Yeah.
Yeah. Heather, if you work, what do you think of Nabil Zaidi as captain? We can't hear you, Heather. We still can't hear you. All
Heather,
right,
please.
technical difficulties continue for Heather. The story of this episode is: will Heather be able to have a working podcast or working microphone? Time will tell if we can. Well, we might. We only have two captains left to talk about. Vali, you think Heather's going to be able to make it on here to say anything?
I don't know. He's not pulling over. He's connected to Padilbro's Wi-Fi. I don't know what to tell
Yeah,
you.
he's not thinking with his mind. That's for sure. So speaking of guys who don't think with their minds, let's talk about Nahi Abbas. So Nahi, he is one of the most under the radar players I think that exists in NJSSL. He often, year after year puts up pretty solid numbers. But despite him putting up solid numbers, he really doesn't seem to make much of a splash. All right, Heather, your camera is very good, so I kind of want you to talk at this moment.
You hear
We
me?
we can hear you.
I know. I would say I think Nabil Zaidi is, as of all the captains, I think he will probably be the best at commanding his team. I think he's the oldest, and I think he is a very good player, one of the best D linemen and O linemen in the league. And I'm excited to see him as a captain. To be honest, I think, like what he said, he's probably gonna take Farhan. I think they're gonna have a very good team together.
100%. One of the best D linemen / O linemen is a little bit of a stretch, but I agree he is very good as a player. Um, and I think he'll be a great captain too. Um, we'll go, moving back to Nahi, pretty much I was just kind of emphasizing, he is often goes under the radar. So I think the big thing for him is will he find a way this season, especially in the role of captain, to distinguish himself from the rest of the league, from the rest of the people, at his position, and just from the rest of the captains. He does he have really any features that make him more unique compared to the other captains? Willie, what do you think?
Yeah, I like Nucky. I played with him last season, and he was a great pick. He was playing with him. So I knew if I was gonna miss a tackle, anything, so now,
Wait, one second, Willie. All right, now say what were you saying?
yeah, I was saying Nucky. Like people think he's a goofy person, but I think as a captain and football IQ, he probably has one of the highest football IQs since he watches every day. So I think as long as he gets his draft right, but the thing is he does have the last pick, so I don't know what he's
It
gonna
might come
do.
back to bite him.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I mean, one of the things that you pointed out was that he has really good IQ. Yeah, I forgot where I was gonna go with that. This Heather guy is silly, microphone that keeps going off, keeps distracting me. But let's give him a chance to talk and see what he's got to say.
I think for Nucky, there's one recipe that he should do. I think every team makes the playoffs. I know Shah's not going to be there most of the regular seasons. I think he should take Shah with his back-to-back picks, take one of the top athletes, Mehdi, and just go from there. Because once the playoffs come around, it's a totally different season, and Shah has the best experience. I know. I think that would be the best bet for Nucky. I don't think he should take two athletes or athlete and a lineman there.
Yeah. No, I mean it's he does he have back to back picks? Do we know?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does. So yeah, I mean, he definitely has to make sure he gets a wide variety. I mean, maybe somebody that's going to be a top athlete and a top lineman probably has 1, 2 guys. But we'll have to see what happens. I think we got to really wait and see what the player list is going to look like before kind of seeing what how people should draft. When we get to draft time. Speaking of draft time, let's talk about our last, certainly not least, captain of the season, Zohaib Mumtaz, the man who will inevitably never go through puberty. Zohaib is, the big thing with him is that he improves every year. We got to give him his flowers, right? Every year he gets better and better. He started at the bottom of the barrel. Nobody even knew Zohaib's name when in the first season of football, and now he's made it himself, a top player in the league, and has made it to captain status. No, the one big thing to point about him is similar to Shazan. He does get in trouble a lot with his tongue. He says things that he shouldn't be saying, both on camera, off camera, and often the difference between him and Shazan, he does back up what he says, but he says things that he shouldn't be saying. Gets himself into trouble. So because of that, I feel like he's also not going to be able to gain the respect of his fellow teammates. They won't really respect him as a leader. And so, I think what's going to happen on his team is inevitably there's going to be chaos on that team because no one's really going to know who to follow. But Vali, what are your thoughts on Mr. Zohaib?
I think Zohaib has improved a lot over the last 2 years. But yeah, like you said, if Zohaib is giving me orders, with all due respect, I'm not listening. So
Exactly.
his first round pick is probably going to be Hussein, and I think once Hussein gets drafted, he'll probably be the leader of that team, which makes sense because he's obviously the best player in the league. So
Fair enough. No, yeah, I think that definitely makes sense. So it might as well just make Hussein the captain then. What was the point of making Zohaib the
yeah,
captain? Yeah, but what are you gonna do? Maybe because Hussein knows that he if he was the captain, he might not pick Zohaib, So that's probably why they had to make Zohaib the captain.
maybe.
Maybe. Well, Heather dropped off again, so we're just gonna have to get him on next time. But Vali, any final thoughts? As we kind of round up this episode.
I have a couple different thoughts. I think it'll be a great season. As first, we need to book the field. On Merchant has been slacking. He's been telling people to sign up, but you can't even book the field on time. So I don't know what to tell him. I'll sign up when I see the field is Heavenly Farm. I don't want to play on the blue field. And then another thing, I want to call out a couple players. Qasim Rizvi, he's 0-5, 0-5 in his last 5 semifinals in NJSSL history. So
Pretty
this dude
bad.
can catch a break. Shazan Khan also needs to win, and then so does Shubber. And these guys, they've won. Like Shubber's won soccer, but honestly, that soccer season has like an asterisk on it because it was way too easy. Like we didn't do anything, to be honest. We got straight carried.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of Zuni also. Zuni needs to step it up. I think he might be retiring soon. He needs to get this ring before he retires.
In the words of John Cena, Zuni, your time is almost up, so your time's got to be now. Kind of modified that a bit, but yeah.
Hold up, I dropped something. 1 second.
Oh yeah, did you? What did you drop? Show us. Show us. There it is. There it is. Why are you showing the Ram side, bro? Show the Falcon side.
The Falcon side, it has nothing on it yet.
Oh, come on. Where are we? Listen, the Falcons were the best team in NJSL football history, and I'd like to see anybody try and challenge them. But
Reg, so who's
excellent.
your prediction to win this season?
my prediction to win this season, based off just the captains,
Just based off the captains, who do you think will
just based
lead?
off the captains, I'm actually gonna go with. I think I'm gonna have to go with Nabil. I think I'm gonna have to go with Nabil Zaidi. I think he's gonna be the most likely captain to put together a very strong, well-rounded team. Um, so I think him. I think the finals are gonna be either his team and Nachi's team, or his team and Akbar's team. But it really just depends on how this draft goes. It's just too early to say.
Yeah,
I wouldn't. I wouldn't put past Akbar to draft a bunch of jokers, So if that happens, then that team's probably not
yeah,
going
but
to.
this draft is hard because Mr. Seattle, he's I don't know where he goes. He's probably the best QB in the draft, but if you're not there for it,
Yeah.
literally 4 weeks and only showing up for the playoffs, I don't know where you go in this draft.
Well, the problem is if you're in Seattle, you better see yourself out of the NJSSL. So that's all I gotta say to that guy. We'll see. We may not have another episode until we have at least the player list. Then we can kind of have some mock drafts going on. But between now and then, we'll have to see what happens. Until then, Wali and Haider, thank you for your time tonight, and keep up the great work, guys. Thank you for coming on, and for all of you watching at home, get ready for an exciting season of Cutting Redge. We're going to try and be back as often as we can with all the interviews and highlights. We're also going to try and get some live interviews with this season with some of the players. So it's going to be great. Until then, everybody else, stay safe, stay quiet, and don't listen to Shezan Khan. Just kidding, Shezan. We love you, brother. And until then, everybody else, have a great rest of your night. Shabbat khair.